And you already poured that? For real?
Yeah.
Wow, man, that is so cool. Man, you don't mess around. That's cool, Mark.
I finish.
Yeah. After you pull that off, smooth it some. Yeah. Cool, cool. Then you can use the same wood again in the front again. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Good job, man.
6 inches, sir.
Oh, yeah. Let's go out here and check out my little boat. Sweet, sweet, sweet. What color you gonna paint these blue? What you gonna paint these blue? Huh? Yeah. They're taped off. I think he's gonna paint them another color. They painted over my writing on the bike back there though. Wasn't supposed to paint over that. My Ilo Nomicon. They were not supposed to paint over that. I told them yesterday. Man. I was just gonna touch up around those letters. I was gonna leave that. Yeah, he wasn't supposed to paint it over that. Yeah, well, it still had Tigbawan right there. Ilo Tigbawan. Ilo and on the other side it has Nomicon and Ilo. So it says it, you know. Maybe he can see it there. Maybe he can take a small brush and paint and outline it back in. Yeah.
Nice looking, bro.
Wow. So, what's everybody had to say next door when they seen the back of the boat chop off? A lot of right, huh? Yeah, a lot of
Nice looking, bro, because hapon le.
Yep. The shark bit it. It got bit by the shark. I know what happens here. There's gonna be a lot of What's that? What kind of crazy boat is that? Yep. I know it.
Very crazy.
I know it. But I don't give a It's okay. If somebody steal my boat, I'm gonna know it. There's no other boat like it.
It's a limited edition.
Yes. Well, hello everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. I am out here chilling with the outboard motor, and what I'm doing is breaking it down to put a new water pump impeller inside right here. And right now I ran into a problem on the shift rod, that there's like a long, kind of like a barrel nut right here, and the shift rod continues up into the power head, and it was seized right there, which is common to happen if they've been around salt water and all. It's a stainless steel rod, but it'll still corrode. I'm gonna take a torch and heat that nut, which of course expands it and breaks anything loose that's crystallized together. So I went and bought a torch, and I got this thing heated up and broke loose. And so that I didn't burn my paint and all right here, I chopped up a little Dr. Pepper can, used it as a heat shield, wrapped up in there, and some of it completely just about melted. Let me see if I can dig that out. Yeah, some of it I put up in there completely burned up, but it saved my paint, saved the powder coat finish that's here on this engine. But it got it loose. That's that little nut right there. I'll give you a good close-up of it there. This goes to this shift rod right here, and as you can see it moving right there, you shift it forward and reverse. So you had to separate that, and that nut was stuck. Bought this little torch at City Hardware. This little head right here, it was about maybe equal to about $8 US, and then a little can of butane here, and that shows it was, I think this says 94 pesos. So a couple bucks there, you know, 10 bucks, little setup right here. This thing works pretty nifty. Is turn it on right here and pull the trigger. Yeah. So that worked, did the trick, and I've got some projects I want to use this for anyway. I've really been needing a torch here. I'll go ahead and get this thing broke on down. Hopefully I have the correct impeller kit. I'm gonna check everything else, check all the seals, grease everything real good. The shaft here going up into the power head is nice and clean. It doesn't show any signs of corrosion. Sometimes you have to watch that. So what I mean is this right here can corrode, especially in salty conditions, up in there to the power head, and it's hard to get it to slip back apart. It can actually kind of seize itself up on there. So when I put it back together, I'll definitely grease the shaft and all. Right now, while I'm out here, I want to talk to some of you all about this Yamaha Outboard right here. This outboard is not the typical outboard that you're going to be seeing in most applications, for instance, in the United States. It may be a Yamaha Outboard engine, but it's not most likely a Yamaha Enduro. These are sold more in a commercial environment. And I'm gonna plug in here on their website for the Yamaha Enduros. They're on their global website. and these are considered a business or a commercial engine, and they're built much heavier, and so it has a more robust water coolant system in it. It has a heavier crankshaft. It has heavier roller bearings. It's all built to be in a full-time duty commercial use operation. This is not your typical Yamaha outboard engine that you would go get there in the US and throw it on your little John boat or whatever and pitter putter around. This is not it. This is a commercial grade Yamaha outboard. And they even sell this engine as well to even operate on kerosene. They have a kerosene version, still has a carburetor. You still have to mix oil in the fuel, but there is actually a kerosene version of this engine as well, besides just gasoline, petrol. Now, another thing I want to tell about this Yamaha Enduro is it is actually built for salt conditions. They market it for being built for salt conditions. So that's another bonus of this motor. This is, again, this is not your typical motor that you would go get a regular Yamaha 25 horsepower outboard, 35, you know, whatever horsepower you get. This is the Enduro Series made for these conditions. And hey, while I'm out here working and sweating, it reminds me, I want to show you something that I bought that I'm so proud of. It's been like a toy almost for me. And I just got to show this. Check this out. I bought a glass door cooler. Yeah, inverter chiller right here. Man, look at it. I already got me a stock in it, boy. Now, I'm not a real big alcohol drinker, but I have guests that are, and we're going to have guests that have come that are. And actually, we're going to sell these drinks here, just like being at a sorry store. People have to walk over here to these other stores when they're hanging out here to buy drinks, and they're spending money. And we're going to have guests that's going to come here on the property that probably don't want to walk through some of these compounds and places. So we're going to have drinks on stock right here. And as we have guests in the rooms and all, they might want certain drinks, you know, right then, right there, and we can offer it to them. So we've already got it kind of stocked up a little bit. I got some brew kettle, San Mig Light right there, smeared off Mule. Got several of the Tanduay ice drinks, Heineken's. Got a couple of other imported drinks right there. Some Yakult, some Corona. We got Too Big, which is water. A couple sizes of Gatorade. We got pineapple juice. We got Red Bulls. We got Chucky's, Cobra, and down below we got some large bottle drinks. I will be stocking it with some like Cokes and stuff like that as well. Probably not the glass bottle ones. We're going to use the plastic bottle ones. That glass, it's hard to dispose of it around here. I know a lot of it's recycled, but let me tell you something. Have you ever traveled in the Philippines very much? And on the side of the road, they're selling gasoline, petrol, and diesel. And they're selling it in Coca-Cola bottles. Those recyclable Coca-Cola bottles. And they're got them all filled up with gas or diesel, and bikes or even trucks, even jeepneys will pull over and they'll pour a few liters or a liter in or whatever. And those bottles end up back out in circulation again, believe it or not. And they've had things like fuel in them, you know, diesel, gasoline, man. And I just don't like it. I don't like it. I used to think it was really cool that they still recycle the bottles and all here. And, you know, the nostalgia part of me thought, oh, man, that's really cool. But then after I seen all of that, and when Melinda, her mother, brought a bunch in over at her sorry store before, and there was actually cigarette butts inside the Coca-Cola. There was a whole entire piece of candy, wrapped up candy inside of one of the recycled, you know, full of Coke, ready to sell Coca-Cola bottles, and numerous other things they told me they have discovered in there. It ended me drinking out of those glass bottles like that. Yeah, it did. It did. I also have seen some conditions. There's a Coca-Cola plant that used to be straight across the highway from the subdivision over here, or diagonal right across over there. And to see how the locals hand clean those bottles to take them back in for recycling, and the minimum of cleaning that actually happens to them. Once again, I think I'll pass on drinking out of those glass bottles. So there you go. And they get pretty inventive with the plastic bottles here, repurpose them for other things. Hey, pour the gas, pour the diesel inside of one of these plastic ones instead of pouring it inside of a glass one that's going to be recycled. There's my rant, there's my rave. Think twice before you drink out of those. Over in this country and maybe some other countries, yeah, think twice. Well, it's hot, and I'm gonna get here and finish working on this outboard. And an update too on my little diesel right here, the starter came in. Yeah, the starter came in for the diesel. Now, honestly, it's been here for probably a week or week and a half, but we've had guests and things going on. Holiday stuff's been going on, and I have not cared about dealing with it right this minute. Over the next few days, Cap's gonna hang out with me here, and Cap and I, we're probably gonna return back to firing up that little diesel motor. Well, Happy New Year again, everybody. Well, it's January 1st, and I'm just chilling like a villain. Well, I'm gonna show you here on this little outboard. I've had a project going on it, and Cap had been over here with me some the other night, and we piddled with it, and then the New Year's events happened, so we stopped on it all. And what I did is pull the lower unit off of it right here, and I was going to check the water pump on it and put a new impeller, because I brought some from the US, but I never have got around to checking putting one in. One of the things when you split this apart, you got to take this nut loose right here. That's for the shift, and it was stuck, which it turns out is common if they've been in the salt. And so that ended up being a big job. That by the time we got it to heat up with a torch and break loose, which it did, then the other end of this rod where it goes on a pin up in here popped off, and then I had to take this whole mounting assembly off the motor. We got in there on that. It has these rubber motor mounts that mount it to it. Well, turns out a couple of them are bad. When take the nuts off, the whole piece came out right here that mounts up into the rubber. So on the other side, it's going to need a new motor mount there. Back up here in the middle, it's going to need a new motor mount. So small jobs start turning bigger. So broke it all down though. I got in there, got this rod repaired, got this thing where it spins smooth now and well greased. So I should not have a problem in the future on that. It's turning nice and smooth now. And then after I got that headache repaired, and I just put all this assembly here just now back together. Now I was over here to the impeller, and for all of you that, oh, your impeller is bad and all this stuff, well, the guy when I bought this from him told me he'd just put a new impeller in. The impeller is nice and soft. It's still in very good condition, and I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna change it. It's in very clean, nice condition. The housing and all, it looks new. And he told me he just put it in, and you can see there's not even a wear mark in it yet. It hadn't even brushed the finish off yet. It's just like he told me, it was brand new. And so I did find, so this was not in vain to go in here and check it out. I did find a piece of an old impeller that was up in a port where it shouldn't have been, and that means that it did shred one in the past, and they had missed getting some of the pieces out. So it was not in vain to take this apart and check this all out. But I'm gonna assemble it back together right now and move on to the next thing. So I got the pump slid back together there, and another thing, this little rubber O-ring, it's more like a grommet, was out of place as well. want to grease the shaft up here, especially around out salt conditions and stuff. You don't want this splines right here to seize up into the head to the power unit, and it makes it real hard to get apart in the future, or next to impossible just about to get apart in the future. Want some grease on these threads right here. Now, as I said, this is a saltwater engine. The Enduro Series is built to be used commercially and in salty environments, and it has an enhanced cooling system on it. I will be changing the prop out here next on it. After I get this back together, I'm going to check the oil in the lower unit, and honestly I hadn't even checked if it had water mixed in it. Make sure it's clean oil in it and it's up to the proper level. So now I'm ready to slip this back together and hope that I have good luck on it, and actually I'll be able to run it again. Now, one of the things I want to do is clear out the water passages on the motor. So on the underside right here, there is this little hole right there. This bolt, and there's a little hole right there. And that's what they'll call the P hole. Need to make sure water's coming out of that. It seemed to maybe been clogged with a little bit of salty corrosion. So I'll check all of the passages and check up here and all. And there's the thermostat on this engine right here. There's a thermostat. May go ahead and open that up and check the condition of that too, and see if it's corroded or anything like that. But everything seems to be in really good condition on this motor, other than the fact that I do need to get online and order a new set of rubber motor mounts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 that bolt down, and then there's 2 just rubber blocks, and I'll go ahead and replace those 2.